There is one thought that frightens most people. Although we rarely admit it aloud, we like to think of ourselves as kind, fair, and incapable of cruelty. We are convinced that we are the good people, and those who do bad things are somewhere far away. In other countries, in other eras, in other stories, in the news, or in old textbooks. It is convenient for us to think that evil is a rare anomaly, that it lives in someone else, and that it will never come close to us. But the truth is much more unpleasant and complicated than it seems at first glance. Human nature is such that we like to believe in our own infallibility. We convince ourselves, even if everything around me collapses, I will remain myself. I will not betray. I will not break. I will not become like them. History, psychology, and ordinary, everyday experience show the opposite. The line between good and evil is much thinner than we are used to thinking. It does not lie somewhere far away between nations or eras. It runs deep within each of us, quietly, imperceptibly, and closer than we are willing to admit. Some people encounter this line much earlier than they might expect. And this happens not because of major disasters or innate depravity. Most often, it all starts with small, almost imperceptible concessions to conscience, which over time become a habit, and then a completely new image of oneself. Why is morality not rock solid, but sandy? We are used to thinking that morality is something as solid as a rock. Once you choose your principles, that's it. They are forever. But in reality, it often behaves like sand on the shore. As soon as the wind changes slightly, the whole picture is washed away. Psychologists call this situational transformation. It is not the person themselves who changes for the worse, but the situation that brings out something they did not even suspect. Take the most ordinary person: family, work, habits, beliefs, and moral standards. In a calm life, they behave predictably and decently. But put them in an environment where rudeness and cynicism are considered the norm. There are no real consequences for actions. Authority demands unconditional obedience. The group approves of indifference or even cruelty. Emotions are suppressed, and fatigue has become chronic. The personality dissolves into a role or into the crowd, and the same person may begin to do things that would seem impossible to them in normal life. Not because they are bad, not because a monster has suddenly awakened in them, but because the context turned out to be stronger than any personal beliefs. Classic experiments from the 1950s to 1970s. The Stanford Prison Experiment, the Milgram Experiment, and the de-individuation studies by Zimbardo and Bandura demonstrated this with frightening consistency. Ordinary, mentally healthy people began to behave harshly, authoritatively, or indifferently towards the pain of others in a matter of days or even hours, simply because their role, form, order, or group norm gave them permission to do so. And most alarmingly, almost all of the participants were confident before the experiment that they would be the ones to resist. Crossing a dangerous line is almost never abrupt. No one wakes up in the morning thinking, "Today I will become worse." It all starts with small things. Laughing at a crude joke, even though it's not funny. Remaining silent when someone nearby is suffering from injustice. Taking something that no one will notice. Telling yourself, "Everyone does it." Not standing up for someone weaker than you. Agreeing to an order you don't like. Making the first small compromise with your conscience, and convincing yourself that it's no big deal. Each such step seems insignificant, but it is precisely these steps that gradually erode our internal brakes. It's like cracks in a dam. First a drop, then a trickle, and then nothing can stop it. One of the most powerful and dangerous mechanisms is blind obedience. From childhood, we are taught to listen to adults, respect our superiors, and not argue with those above us. This is useful for order in society, but it becomes deadly dangerous when authority demands immorality. The phrase, "I was just following orders," has been heard over and over again throughout history, from military tribunals to ordinary offices. A person passes responsibility up the chain and removes it from themselves. At that moment, their own conscience ceases to be their main guide. Dehumanization is the silent killer of empathy. Dehumanization is when we stop seeing other people as real people, and it slowly kills our ability to empathize. Even more frightening than submission is dehumanization. Once another person ceases to be perceived as an individual, with feelings, pain, dreams, and fears, you can do anything to them. It all starts with words: lazy, stupid, parasites, not like us, deserved it. These labels create emotional and moral distance. Once that distance is there, cruelty doesn't seem so unthinkable anymore. The internet has perfected this mechanism. Behind the screen is not a person, but a nickname, an avatar, a line of text. Empathy drops tenfold. People write things that would get them punched in real life, and they don't even think twice about it. In a crowd or an anonymous group, people lose their sense of personal guilt. Everyone does it. So I can too. They won't find me. So it's okay, and responsibility is shared. I only did my small part. This works in real life. Pogroms, lynchings, corporate indifference, and on the internet, bullying, hate waves. The good news is that you can resist. It's not an innate superhero quality or luck. It's a skill that can be practiced every day. Awareness is the ability to notice when the environment starts to pull you in the wrong direction. Just stop and ask yourself, am I choosing this, or is it being chosen for me? Empathy is the habit of reminding yourself that you are dealing with a living person, not a label. 1 second to think, he has feelings too, can stop 90% of rudeness. Personal responsibility. Refusing to say, I was just following orders. Understanding that in the end, you will still have to answer for everything yourself, at least to your own conscience. Courage in small things. Saying no when everyone else says yes, and yes when everyone else is silent. Heroism almost always begins with a quiet refusal to go with the flow. Independent thinking, the habit of checking, is this my own opinion, or am I just repeating someone else's? Every time a person makes such a small choice in the right direction, they strengthen their inner compass. And the more often they do this, the stronger the wall becomes, which neither fatigue, pressure, nor the group can break through. When we look at the dark pages of history, or at other people's mistakes, it is easy for us to say, I would never do that. But the truth is that in similar circumstances, any of us could find ourselves in the place of those we condemn. We are all made of the same stuff. Strength is not about being perfect from birth. Strength is about noticing the first cracks and choosing to fix them every time, rather than pretending they don't exist. Every small conscious choice is a brick in a wall that, on a difficult day, will prevent us from becoming who we never wanted to be. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos.